So what's the biggest concern facing small business today? This is a question one of my network had asked me, and my response to them was, there's no just one big concern for small business, there's multiple. And again, bringing it back into the business model, when you build your business model, you need to understand what all these concerns are. That is how you move forward, okay? But we'll come on to that. Now, I put them in 5 big concerns, but you'll see I've sort of packaged a few into just one because they're all related to each other and interdependent, right? But when you look at your concerns in a business model, when you're looking inward, first of all, right? First thing you need to look at your people. Now, if you see what's happened over the last number of years, the change, they've had to go remote working, they've had to learn new skills, they've had to do a lot of things. And now they're working much harder, they're on longer, they're more productive, but they're more stressed. And now we're going into this hybrid, we're going back to the office, right? So we're getting fatigue with the people, change fatigue. And that's a real stress. And not only is it change fatigue, now you're talking about shortage of people. You will see some industries are struggling to get back up to full capacity, and it's causing the public a lot of stress. You can see that in airports around the world at the moment. So people fatigue, change fatigue, your people, you need to build a plan and manage and mitigate the risk is concerned by building a really strong people strategy. Now we can talk about that again, but that is for me one of the biggest internal ones. But then also sticking with the people side of things is key person dependency. Because of all the issues with people, you're reliant on one person in your business to do one thing. And if that person goes, you've opened up a big risk because no one else can do what that person did. So you need to mitigate key person dependency by training and sharing and having that cross-training, cross-skilling, and making sure people can cover people when they're off or sick or when they leave. And a big example is that it's a specialist in their field or also a founder. A founder dependency. No one business should be dependent on one person. It should be, even if you're speaking from a founder perspective, what the founder should be doing is building a business that either they can sell or they can not need them in it. So either way, the business should run itself with just a little bit of strategic guidance, right? So key person dependency is another one. But also in this world, as we've seen over the last number of years, money management has become more important and prevalent as ever. It's always important with a small business, but you can see now how quickly things change. So it's not about understanding cash flow and profits in today's world. It's really now about future planning. How can you build a model that can survive in not only good and not what I used to always say is bad times, but now recessionary times, right? Because it's really important to ensure you can survive anything that comes down the road. You've got that crisis model, and there's a financial element to that too, right? Now another one is also, as we're looking at all the internal, now if we look outward, client dependency. The client world is changing at the moment, and it doesn't matter if your clients are face to face now, but more and more than ever, clients are looking to online digital channels to make their purchases, to make life easier for them. And a big example of that is subscription, and we've seen that what's happening in the retail. You will not be able to survive if you've only got one channel for your customers going forward. So you need to really embrace this digital agenda, and not only the digital agenda, but how that feeds into your customers' needs, because their needs are changing. And then you got to change if their needs are changing, and because their needs are changing, maybe you can't supply their needs, so you need more customers to fill that gap. So it's a constant, fluid dynamic at the moment, so you need to keep up with the change and need to be ahead of the curve. So it's really important to understand your client dynamic in this new world, right? And that's all the stuff that, like, in the terms of concerns about the immediate surroundings of your business, internal and external, and the local macroeconomic climates. But then you've got this global thing to consider going on at the moment, and there's so many things. You saw what happened with the pandemic. We've got a war that's affecting global supply chains at the moment. So what does that mean? How does that impact you? Well, it does, because everything is changing. We're looking at inflation rates across the globe at the moment. There could be an energy crisis as well. We're looking at interest rates, right? And what does that all mean? Well, that means, do we need to prepare ourselves for what's coming down the track, a potential recession? There's many signs, there's a lot of fearmongering going on at the moment. So whether it's coming or not, it's time to take check and stand back, and how can I mitigate the risk of all the global issues that can impact my business. And two big ones for me are like sustainability. Well, now, like I've always been doing process efficiency, improving performance on the operations and supply chains from a product movement or parts movement or service movement perspective. But now sustainability about energy, oil, supply chains, cost of packaging, everything, and not just within your building and your business, your suppliers and their suppliers too. And then for your customers also, how can you minimize that? And I'll just give you a great example about Amazon. Look at all the packaging that they do in the supply chain. Now I know they're working on their strategy at the moment, but it's going to take time. But the less dependent you can be on all these things, we're so interdependent at the moment, and that means we're at risk. We're dependent on many things. So it's time to become more independent like we were a long time ago and not reliant on all these supply chains. Yes, they're amazing when they work well, but you need a backup plan. So sustainability is now very important, not just for the world, the environment, everything, but for your own business success, and embrace the circular economy. And then you've got to really think about your supply chains. Are the global supply chains what you want? Just because you can get a much cheaper cost per unit in certain parts of the world doesn't make sense from a security and stability perspective that you can get stuff quickly, so you're not reliant, and you can keep your business moving. You can keep that conveyor belt moving for your customers, so then you can keep moving too. That is really important. So yes, have your cheap products coming from wherever, but also have that backup plan or even a second partner that can supply these things with you, and keep dripping business to them, so when things get tough, you've got a backup plan. So these are just some of the concerns, and I say just some of the big concerns any business needs to take seriously at the moment, because once you understand these concerns, then bringing it back to the business model, then you can put your mitigating strategies in your business model, so then you can move forward with a strong sense of confidence that you can succeed going forward. Now it's July here at the moment. I will be coming back to these concerns later in the year when we're talking about building your strategy, when we get into the nuts and bolts of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and how you're going to protect and develop your business going forward. I hope this makes sense. I hope it solved or answered some questions for you, but please keep these questions coming. I love answering them because they're really relevant. So again, there's not just one concern at this moment in time, there's multiple, and they need to be put and considered in your business model. Thanks for listening, and in the meantime, this is Shay saying, have a great day.